So last class we started with relations and functions, right? So I gave you some basic introduction about what is a relation and a function. Can someone repeat it? What is a relation? So when you speak about the concept of relation, so what does relation mean? It is a subset of something. It is a subset of dash product of Cartesian product of, yes. So first we need to know what is an ordered pair. So everybody knows what is an ordered pair. Just for the benefit of people who missed last class, I'll explain it again. So ordered pair is not everyone, right? So ordered pair is a result of, actually I should come in reverse. So when you do the Cartesian product, what is the output you get? So when you do the Cartesian product, the output that you get is an ordered pair. So from this ordered pair, if you take a subset or a complete set, then that is what we call it as a relation, right? So that's what you would have learned last year. Right. So let's look at the definition of relation again. So a relation are from whom to whom? So what you basically need? You basically need two non-empty sets, right? So when you talk about a relation R from a non-empty set A to a non-empty set B, it is what? It is a subset of the Cartesian product of the set A cross B, right? So how is a subset derived? How will you be able to achieve that subset or arrive at that subset? 11th. So how will you be able to achieve or derive a subset? So relation needs a specific condition to be mentioned, right? So last class I think I gave you this example, y is equal to, see how many of you are not comfortable with this. If you tell that, I will go with the basics itself. So this year you will be studying types of relations. If you are not comfortable with relations itself, let me know, I will explain in detail. Everyone is comfortable? Right? Are you able to understand? If there is any doubt, please stop me, okay? Or else I'll not know whether you know it or not. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, can you repeat the definition of relation again, sir?
Yeah, I'll do it again. Listen. See, it is again for the benefit of people who are asking me, I'm repeating it again. Listen. Okay. Can someone tell me what is an ordered pair? Susindran, ordered pair. Give me an example of order. X comma, right? So what does an X represent and what does a Y represent? So where do you think it has a main application? So whatever math you're learning, okay, math will have more applications in other parts. Like for example, ordered pair has application in which branch of your math itself? You have it in graphs, right? So when you have an ordered pair, if I give you something like 1, 2, then what can you say? So if you take a graph sheet, then 1, 2 in terms of coordinate geometry, we call it as a coordinate, where 1 represents the X coordinate and 2 represents the Y coordinate. What is the other technical name for it? 1 represents the abscissa, 2 represents the ordinate. Better way to look at it is 1 represents the value of independent axis. So what do you mean by independent axis? I'll tell you why you're learning all these things, okay? You have indirectly been learning this all from your 9th itself when you started polynomials, okay? And 2, see, if I call 1 as the independent variable, then 2 will be called as the dependent variable. That is, x-axis is independent and y-axis is dependent. The other way you can see is x-axis is input, y-axis is the output of whom. So this 1, 2 is an ordered pair, I'm able to understand, but it should satisfy something. What is it going to satisfy? If I give the question like this, frame a relation between 1 and 2, Okay, frame a relation between 1 and 2 which satisfies. Y is nothing but 2x. You can think of something like this. Is this the only statement? Or what can you do? You can write 2y is equal to 4x something. You can keep multiplying, right? You can frame relation. Though they represent the same thing, you can still write them, right? This is just an extra question. From your 11th standard basics, can you tell me what does this y is equal to x represent mathematically? I just want to see how much you people know. Y is equal to 2x represents what? If I draw this on a graph sheet, what am equation of a line passing through origin. Y is equal to mx circular. So equation of line passing through origin, that y is equal to mx is also called as a relation. Okay. I hope ordered pair is clear. Right. Now what can you say about the Cartesian product? So for you to obtain the Cartesian product, what is the data you need in your hand? You need two sets which are non-empty. If I have two sets in my hand, let's speak only in terms of input and output, nothing else outside that. Okay, domain, range, and we'll see it later. Let's speak only about input and output values. So if I take the ordered pair 1, 2 from your understanding, which is input, which is output? X value is the input. When you give that input to the required equation, you get an output in terms of y. That is what you plot it on the graph sheet, right? So if I take two sets A and B, set A will generally be called as the domain, range, everything keep it aside. I'll come to that point. This is called as the input set and this is called as the output set, right? So if I have to understand what is a Cartesian product, then what am I supposed to do? What is a Cartesian product? Ankit Ram, can you say?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what does Cartesian product mean? Cartesian product of two sets to another. Anybody? That's what. That's enough. Tell me. I don't want the definition. It is a set of ordered pairs that you obtain. Actually, you don't multiply them. You write an ordered pair. That's it. So if I write A cross B, then what am I going to get? I'm going to get a set. So that set in which form will you write generally? What is the name of that form? Roster form. You write it as A1, B1, A1, B2. You keep writing it like this, right? So to put it in simple terms, set A is nothing but it has the elements A1, A2, so on till AM. Set B is what? It has elements B1, B2, so on till Bn. Then A cross B will also have elements. Those elements are what actually? Just give me a minute. What are those elements actually? Just give me a minute. Right, so what is the answer? So Cartesian product means it is a set of ordered pairs. Okay. So you will have A1, B1, A2, B2, so on till AN, AM, BN. I hope this point is clear. Then what is the relation? This input, output, Cartesian product, then if you take, if I need to call something as a relation, it is a subset or equal to A cross B, then this is what I can call it as a relation. And if you have to derive that relation, what you need to do? You need to impose a specific set of conditions on whom? On the value of x and y, such that there is some mathematical expression you are able to form out of them. For example, I might have a set of ordered pair like this 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, so on till 2, 5. Okay, I'll leave that so on also. You have 4 elements, okay. 4, 5. Okay. I'll take 2, 4 also. Right? So if I ask you to frame a relation, or if I give you a relation like this, y is equal to 2x, what are all the ordered pairs that you will be picking up? 1, 2 and 2, 4. So y is equal to 2x is a specific set of relation. So this is the Cartesian product of which set? A cross B is there, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 4, 2, 5. If I ask you to write the input set and the output set, will you be able to write in the reverse? Reverse, na? Using the reverse operation, can you tell which set is A? What is set A and what is set B? What is it? Tell me. Set A consists of 1 and 2 because those are all the input elements. What are all the output elements you are able to see? 2, 3 and 4. 5 is also there. So these are all the output elements. So set B contains 4 elements and set A contains 2 elements. Right? So y is equal to 2. For the relation y is equal to 2x, if you write the set of ordered pairs, what are you going to get? You are going to get only 1, 2 and 2, 4. Where does 1, 2 and 2, 4 come from? Is it not a subset of A cross B? Then this relation 1, 2, 2, 4 is what is called as the relation y is equal to 2x, which is a subset of A cross B. Is there a possibility for you to frame any other relation? Can you frame another relation? If I call this relation R1 as a subset of A cross B, which is given as 1, 2 and 2, 4, you have other ordered pairs also, no? The other ordered pairs might follow some other condition. For example, if I ask you to frame a relation between 1, 3, if I call that relation as R2, which is still a subset of A cross B, then what that relation is supposed to be? If I write it as 1, 3 now, if I ask you to frame a mathematical relation, so that is what they have mentioned it here. I'll read that point out. Listen. So what are they saying? A relation R from a non-empty set A to the non-empty set B is a subset of the Cartesian product set A cross B. How is a subset derived? Read it. The subset is derived by describing a relation. What relation are they speaking? A mathematical relationship between the first element and the second element of the ordered pairs in the set A cross B. Am I clear? Right? So this is an important point. The set of all the first elements in R is what we call it as the domain, and the set of all the elements in the set of the second elements are called as the images. Okay, and that is what we call it as the range also. So generally set A is called as the domain set B is called as the codomain set. But what are all the elements that appear in the output are called as the range. Are you able to understand the difference? For example, A is there, 1, 2, 4, 5. Domain, codomain, 4, 5. If I give you a relation like this, range is only 5. 4 is unused because it does not have a pre-image. So I hope you know what is the difference between an image and a pre-image. Image is present in which set? Codomain set. Pre-image is present in the domain set. Right? I hope this point is clear. Right? So this also I discussed the last class. No? Anyways, I'll repeat it. A relation may be represented either by the roster form or by the set builder form, or by an arrow diagram, which is a visual representation of a relation that we will see slowly. If the number of elements in set A is P and the number of elements in set B is Q, then the number of The number of Cartesian product, the number of elements in the Cartesian product will be P into Q, and the total number of possible relations from set A to set B will be 2 power P into Q. Have this point in your mind. Okay. So this is the basic thing about the relation from your 11th standard. Now, how are we going to learn it in your 12th standard is what we are going to see now. Right. Again, I told you one more difference. So for you to define a relation, how many sets? Minimum number of sets that you need are 2. So when you learned in your 11th standard, since you learned the basics, they would have told about 2 non-empty sets A and B. But here for the types of relations, they never discussed about the types of relations in your 11th standard. But here we'll discuss about the types of relations. For you to have the types of relation, you're not going to define a Cartesian product between 2 sets. Rather, you do it between the same set with itself. That is why if you see every definition in your 12th standard, they will only say a relation in set A. They will not say relation in set A and B. Every statement starts like this. Okay. So that is the first definition. If you look at the 11th and the 12th textbook, the things will completely change. So now everybody is clear about what is a relation, right? So if I talk about a relation R in set A, then you can call that relation to be an empty relation under what scenario? When can you call a relation R to be an empty relation? If no element of A or B, sorry, if no element of A is related to any element of itself, then R is equal to null set, which is a subset of, it is not anymore A cross B, rather it is A cross A. Okay. Then what about the counterpart of it? Empty is 0. Maximum is 100%. 100% means universal set. So you can call a relation as a universal relation under what scenario? When all the elements of set A are related to the elements of set A, right? So R is equal to A cross A, then that is what we call it as a universal relation. Am I clear with this? This we have discussed in the last class, right? We saw an example also. What was the example? The boys' school. So let A be the set of all students of a boys' school. Show that the relation R in A, which is given by R is equal to A comma B, such that A is a sister of B. Okay, what kind of a relation will it be? Obviously, so you need, what are they expecting? Let's try to dissect and see. They're asking you to form ordered pairs A comma B, such that what is the relation between A and B? A is a sister of B, not possible in a boys' school. So it is an empty relation, right? Similarly, there is another relation R dash, which is having the ordered pairs A comma B, such that what? The difference between the height of A and B is less than 3 meters, which is obviously going to be the answer, right? So this is a universal relation. Is this example clear? Students on the other side, is this clear?
Clear, sir.
Ankit?
Yes, sir.
Ananya? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So shall we go to the next one? This is what we are going to see. These are all the types of relations based on which all the problems will be asked. Okay. So a relation R in set A can be called as 3 types. The relations are basically classified into 3 types. What are you able to see? One is called as a reflexive relation. The second is called as a symmetric relation, and the third is called as the transitive relation. Okay, depending on certain conditions that they satisfy. Okay, let's see what they are. So a relation R in set A is called as reflexive. Under what scenario? So relation will have what elements? Set of ordered pairs. How are the ordered pairs supposed to be for that relation to be called as a reflexive relation? Look at it. Look at the input element and the output element. If the input element is A, output element is also A. Means if you give the input as 1, the output should also come out as 1. If you give the input as 1.5, the output also should come out as 1.5. If you are able to frame that kind of a relation, then that relation is what is called as a nothing but it's the same. Means here how many, see this it's a good question actually, but a relation in set A we are saying. So when I take a set A, if the elements are A comma B comma C D like this, set, when you're trying to frame the relation between A with itself, the other set will also be A B C D. If I ask you to write all the possible Cartesian products, what are you going to do? If I write a Cartesian product A cross A, then I can think of A comma B, I can write like this, right? Out of all these ordered pairs, what are all the ordered pairs you are supposed to pick and write in a separate set for that so-called set to be called as a reflexive set? When the input and the output are the same. That is, if you are able to write a relation R is equal to A comma A, B comma B, C comma C, so on, then that particular set is what is called as a reflexive set, where the elements that are there in the ordered pair belong to which set? Where is that A and A coming from? They are coming from which set? From this set A. That is what they have told. Read it carefully, okay? So I'm repeating it again. A relation R in set A is called as reflexive if A comma A belongs to R for every element A that comes from the set, for every element small a that comes from the set capital A. Are you guys clear? If anybody is having confusion, please get it clear.
I have a doubt.
Shall I proceed?
Sir, doubt, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, doubt. Could you give an example for reflexive?
Yeah, we'll do it. After every relation, I'll do an example.
Okay, sir.
Okay. See, this question actually has something called as equivalence relation. That equivalence is the fourth one. We'll see it later. For any relation to be equivalence, I'll just give you the outline. It is supposed to be reflexive, symmetric, and transitive. Everything has to get satisfied. But let's look at this problem only with the perspective of finding out whether it is reflexive or not. For us to understand reflexive relation. Now, what are they saying? Let T, okay, that is a representation given to one set. That set contains what? Set contains all triangles. When they say all triangles, what is the meaning? It can consist of a scalene triangle, isosceles, right angle, isosceles, right angle, anything. Okay. So set of all triangles in a plane with R, the relation in T is given by what? R is equal to T1 comma T2. So the relation is in such a way that you should write the ordered pairs containing what? The ordered pairs are given by what notation? T1 and T2, such that what condition do they follow? T1 is congruent to T2. Okay. If I give you this kind of a relation and I ask you a question, is this relation a reflexive relation or not? Let's try to understand. Okay. So when I take a set T contains what? All types of triangles. It consists of scalene, it consists of equilateral, isosceles, right angled isosceles, okay, or simply a right angle triangle. The other set T, a relation in what? A relation in set T only. So second set is also T only. It will also contain the same elements S, E, I, R, I, R. Am I clear? Now what are they asking us? You need to pick a triangle from the first set. You need to pick a triangle from the second set and write them in what form? In the ordered pair, such that what condition is to be satisfied? T1 comma T2. So if I take only the Cartesian product, okay, I don't know what is the relation. I'm taking only Cartesian product. If I take T cross T, what are all the possible things I can write? I can write scalene, equilateral, scalene isosceles, scalene right angle, like whatever it is, scalene right angle. Like I can keep writing like this. This is what? This is a Cartesian product. But relation is what? It's a subset of this. The relation that they have mentioned is, I need to choose only those elements in such a way that the first triangle and the second triangle are congruent with respect to each other. Now let's logically think, can I choose S comma S? Right? So I have a scalene triangle, I have the same scalene triangle on the other side. Okay, then there might be other conditions also. Scalene triangle with a particular dimension. One side, like scalene triangle 1, 2, 3. Scalene triangle, there can be another scalene triangle 2, 4, 6 also. Something like that. S1, S2, if I extend it, let's forget about this as well. Same set, that's what S1, S2, set of all triangles in Sonarla. They didn't give any dimension. That's how I'm trying to think. Are you able to understand what I'm trying to say? It need not be only one scalene triangle. It can be multiple scalene triangles also. To make it simple, I took one scalene triangle. So if I take only one scalene triangle from set A, the same scalene triangle is present in set B also. Can I say those two triangles are congruent? When can you say they're congruent? When their sides are equal, obviously their angles are also going to be equal. So to put it in simple terms, they both represent same triangle. So a relation R I'm taking out in such a way, one is S comma S I can think of. What is the other relation I need to take out for the given condition? I can think of equilateral and an equilateral. I can think of a right angle isosceles and a right angled isosceles. When I keep writing like this, does this relation satisfy whatever is required for a reflexive relation? Yes. Yes, clear? So it is reflexive in nature. Are you guys able to visualize? See, I can put it in a statement, but this is the way you dissect and see. This is the way you observe things. Okay, they would have given it in a simple statement. Where R is reflexive since every triangle is congruent to itself, obviously. Okay, but why you should understand. Am I clear? Did you guys make a note of it? Please make a note of it.
I have a doubt.
Rohan?
So that means like the ordered pair must be from the same set, sir. Always. Like
Yes.
T1 and
Because
T2
here
must
you have only
always
one
be
set.
from T.
See, T1 and T2 are elements. Actually, what mistake it is, they should have given those elements in small lowercase. See, there are how many sets actually? There is only one set. There is only one set T. The relation is to be
T1,
framed
T2
from
elements.
T1 and T2 both come from the same set T. Rohan, are you able to understand? See, this is a very tricky point, Ra. You're not clear, I'll repeat it.
Understood,
Every
sir,
relation,
I understood.
every relation is defined only from one set.
I understood, sir. That was my doubt.
And Ananya, are you both clear? Varun, are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay. Shall we proceed? Right. So what is the next type of relation they are trying to talk? Symmetric. The name is suggesting something. Symmetric means, see, try to understand the same relation R from set A. I'll write the statement here, write it down in the same way. The relation R in what? In set A is said to be what? It's said to be symmetric under what scenario? If, listen to this, if A1 comma A2 is an ordered pair which is belonging to the relation, implies that A2 comma A1 also belongs to R. Okay. If A1 comma A2 belongs to R, implies A2 comma A1 also belongs to R, where do these elements A1 comma A2 come from? They belong to the set. Clear? Clear? So here the difference is that is a condition to be satisfied. In reflexive, if is a condition, if A1 comma A2 you are able to find an ordered pair in the relation R, then what is the other ordered pair you are supposed to find in the same relation for it to be called as symmetric? For example, if I have a relation R is equal to 1 comma 2, Okay, I've written only one ordered pair. So 1 comma 2 means A1 is 1, A2 is 2. Then for it to be symmetric, what is the other ordered pair I'm supposed to find? Then 2 comma 1 also should belong to the same relation. If you are able to find something like this, then that particular relation is called as a symmetric. Now you can ask me a question. 1 comma 2 is there, 2 comma 1 is there. Is it necessary that every ordered pair should have a symmetric quotient of it? The answer is yes. For example, R is equal to 1 comma 3, 3 comma 1, 1 comma 2. If I ask you whether this is symmetric or not, why? Because 1 comma 3 has 3 comma 1, its counterpart. But 1 comma 2 is missing 2 comma 1 for it to be called as symmetric. So this is not a symmetric relation. Am I clear? So for a relation to be called as symmetric, every element should have a symmetric quotient of it. Clear? That is the meaning of implies. Am I clear? Let's go back to the same problem. Shall I move on? Yeah. What was the problem? So again, you guys remember the problem that we were solving in example number 2? What did they say? Set T contains all triangles. Correct? Now you need to frame a relation in set T such that the ordered pairs are supposed to satisfy some condition. What are they? T1 comma T2 such that T1 is congruent to T2. Now let's think logically. Now I'm slightly changing it, okay? I'm not using the scaling, equilateral, all those things. If T1, T2, so on till Tn are there, here also you will have T1, T2, so on till Tn, right? T cross T. Tell me. T1 comma T2. Don't get confused between this, okay? T1 comma T2. Sorry, T1 comma T1, T1 comma T2, T1 comma T3, so on. It keeps on going. Similarly, when you start with T2, you will have T2 comma T1. When you start with T3, you will have T3 comma T1. So it keeps on going like this. You will be able to find. What is this? It's a Cartesian product. So for me to pick the triangles where the first triangle is similar to the first triangle is congruent to the second triangle, what are all the things I can write? What are all the elements I can think of? T1 comma T1 can be written. Then if I write T1 comma T2, then what am I trying to say? I'm saying I'm already concluding that R is a relation such that T1 comma T2 is also an ordered pair. If I write it there, if T1 comma T2 belongs to that, then what is the other ordered pair I can write there? Can I write T2 comma T1 without a doubt? Why? Because if T1 is congruent to triangle T2, the vice versa is also true. T2 is also congruent to T1. Are you guys able to understand how you're choosing? So that T1 comma T2 and so T1 comma T1, repeat T1 comma T1, you don't write it because in roster form you don't repeat it. Okay, T1 comma T1 will help you to find whether it is reflexive. It's a good question. It will help you to understand whether it is reflexive. So for reflexive only you will see whether the input and the output elements are same. Whereas for symmetric, what should happen? The first element, the second element should be different. That is why we are saying two elements A1 comma A2. We didn't write as A1 comma A1 belong to A. So you will not take this T1 comma T1 to prove it is symmetric. That's wrong. You only take T1 comma T2. Since T1 comma T2 I am saying that it is congruent, then T2 comma T1 I can also write it as congruent because it is I who is stating that it is congruent. Correct? So that's what they have given it in a statement. Let's read out and see. So further, if T1 comma T2 belongs to R, who's concluding? Who's deciding that? Is it you or the question? If na, who's deciding? You're deciding or the question? If it's by us. If I say T1 comma T2 is belonging to R, then obviously I can say, according to this question, the T2 comma T1 will also belong to R, because 1 is congruent to 2, 2 is obviously congruent to 1. So, which implies T1 is congruent to T2, that also further implies what? T2 is congruent to T1. This is the way you're supposed to write in the exam. All these things I'm explaining only for you to visualize. Any doubt? So, when you write it in the exam, this is the way you're supposed to write, because then you will get marks. So T1, if T1 comma T2 belongs to R, that implies from that statement what you are concluding, T1 is congruent to T2. That is decided by you. That also implies the statement next to it implies T2 is congruent to T1 is the fact. Okay. So from that you can conclude that T2 comma T1 also belongs to R. Hence it is symmetric. Clear? No confusion, right? Online guys, any confusion?
No, sir. Sir,
No, sir.
can you show the definition for symmetric again, sir?
Yeah, I will do it. The one which I wrote? It's there in the text. Okay. Just a minute, guys. So this is the one I wrote. Ankit, done?
Yes,
Shall we
sir.
move on? Yes. So what is the third one? It's a transitive relation. So let's try to understand. So how should I start my statement? Whenever you try to understand the definition, how is every definition starting? A relation in set A is said to be, what are we trying to talk about? Transitive if, okay, I'll put double F. If A1 comma A2 belongs to R, I just put it, I'm trying to specify. Okay. A1 comma A2 belongs to R, A2 comma A3 belongs to R. Okay. Now tell me one thing from your understanding. After this, if whatever I'm writing, is it decided by me or by the question? Whatever you're writing after this, if is it decided by me or the question? It is decided by us. Okay. Implies, whatever is coming after this implies is what the question will decide. Implies A1 comma A3 also belongs to R. Are you able to understand? See, A1 comma A3 belongs to R, where do these elements A1, A2, A3 come from? Obviously, they belong to the input set A. Purida? So, in symmetric, how many conditions should be decided by us? Symmetric, how many conditions are decided by us symmetrically? One condition by us, one the question will decide. In transitive, we have to set two conditions and one will be done by the question. Implies kapra or it is done by the question. Okay. Two conditions now. This also belongs to R. You are saying A1 comma A2 also belongs to R is told by you. A2 comma A3 also belongs to R is stated by you. If these two, whatever you are stating is true, then the third part also should be true. Then we call it as transitive. Okay, we'll go with the example again. Okay, if you just conclude one thing, if any relation is reflexive, symmetric, and transitive, then that kind of a relation is what is called as an equivalence relation. A relation R is said to be equivalence relation if R is reflexive, symmetric, and transitive. If all the three conditions are satisfied. I hope I'm clear. Right? Now we need to understand the question again. So again, the same set triangles T and the other triangle T. So what can we take? The elements are T1, T2, so on till Tn. Think about it, okay? You guys think and answer. Obviously, ordered Cartesian product everybody knows. T cross T, T1, 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 T2, T1, T3, so on. It keeps on going. T3, T1 keeps on going like this. Okay. Now, what is our work? Our work is to write a relation where the first element and the second element are in such a way that the first triangle and the second triangle are congruent. So, if I write a statement like this, if is done by me, so for me to prove it is transitive, how many ordered pairs am I supposed to pick from the Cartesian products? I need to choose 2, and the third one will be decided by the question. I will write T1, T2 in the ordered pair. By me writing that particular ordered pair, what am I directly saying? I'm trying to say T1 and T2 are congruent. I don't know, I have no information about them, but I'm directly concluding. If T1, T2 is congruent, if this ordered pair is true, satisfying the relation, I am also writing T2, T3. Okay. So T1, T2 and T2, T3, I am blindly saying they are congruent. Now we have to think, will this satisfy the question? If I say T1 and T2 are congruent and T2 and T3 are congruent, then logically T1 and T3 are also congruent. Then in this relation, will I be able to write T1, T3, which is to satisfy the question? Since all these elements are existing, where T1, T2, T3 come from whom? They come from the same set, input set T. I can say this relation is transitive. Are you guys convinced? Yes. Similarly, can you give me another example? That if you can choose, you can choose if, like for example, I take T2, T3, then I take T3, T4. If they both belong to the relation R, then will you be able to conclude that T2 is congruent to T4? You take any combination, it will work out. Okay. So this is like a rough work which you people are supposed to do before you conclude the statement. See, sometimes there are 2 types of questions they will ask. One is they will ask you to prove, safe bet. While sometimes they'll ask you to find, you will get stuck. Find means you will have confusion. Prove that it is already decided, you know it, so you can write it. So be careful about it. I hope everybody is clear. Can I go a little fast? Yeah. Anybody is copying? Okay. Let's look at example number 3. Guys, on the other side, if you have any doubt, you please stop me. Okay. So let's read the question. Let L be the set of all lines. You have set of lines L1, L2, L3, so on till I don't know how many lines are there. They are lines in a plane. And R is a relation in L. That relation is defined by satisfying what condition? They have given, you need to write the ordered pairs L1, L2 such that L1 is perpendicular to L2. Show that R is symmetric but neither reflexive nor transitive. Let's think about it. Okay, don't look at the solution. You guys think. See, suppose this question comes in your exam, how are you going to solve it? That's what I want to know. You want to try? First you answer, you tell, I will write, then you can copy it. So set L, set L. So how will you imagine? L1, L2, so on till, let's say you have n lines in your hand. Similarly, here also you will have L1, L2, so on till n lines in your hand. This is set L, this is set L. So first, how will you visualize? First is Cartesian product. When you write the Cartesian product, what is it? L1, 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 L2, L2, L1, whatever it is. It keeps on going. Okay. This is only the Cartesian product. It has no specific condition. But what is the relation stating? I need to write the ordered pair in such a way that the input element and the output element are in such a way that they are perpendicular to each other. Now let's think. For this relation to be reflexive, what should happen? In the relation R, you should be able to write L1, L1. You should be able to write. Will you be able to write? Obviously no, because see, this is a mathematical way, that's right. So when you write it in the statement, since a line cannot be perpendicular to itself, it cannot form a reflexive. So it doesn't satisfy the condition of reflexive. Will it be able to satisfy the condition of symmetric? Will it be? If I write, so how many conditions I can decide? For symmetric, if I can choose one. If L1 comma L2 belongs to R, can I say that L2 comma L1 also should belong to R? Why? Because, yes, perfect. So I told L1 and L2 are perpendicular. Obviously L2 and L1 will also be perpendicular. So for any ordered pair Lx comma Ly, you will always have an ordered pair Ly comma Lx. So it is symmetric. Now let's think about, yes, it is symmetric. Right? See, I'm not writing in detail because it's already there in textbook. Right? Will I be able to prove it is transitive? Will I be able to prove it is transitive? Let's write and see. No. So how many conditions we can define for transitive? Transitive you can define two. L1 comma L2, I am saying it is true. Means what I am saying, L1 and L2 are perpendicular to each other. I am also saying L2 comma L3 is also true. I am concluding. But will I be able to find L1 comma L3? Why? Because if L1 is perpendicular to L2 and L2 is perpendicular to L3, then L1 comma L3 are parallel to each other, or they should be coinciding lines. Right? Generally they will be parallel if you treat them as different lines. Okay. So how will you write this? If L1 comma L2 comma L2 comma L3 belongs to R, it implies L1 comma L3 does not belong to R. Instead of saying implies, you can write but. But L1 comma L3 does not belong to R if the relation is not transitive. So what is the only condition it is satisfying? It is symmetric in nature, and that's what they have asked us to prove also. Okay. So I suggest you to treat every problem like find rule. Don't look at it like proof. Because then you can improve your skills better. Shall I move on to the next one? Yes. Fourth one, I think it is simple. Look at it and tell me. Show that the relation R in set 1, 2, 3, only 3 elements, given by R is equal to 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, and 2, 3 is reflexive, but not symmetric nor transitive. Why? It is, guys, one more thing. For it to be reflexive, all the elements should exist. I forgot to tell this point. For it to be reflexive, A1 comma A2, A1 should exist, A2 comma A2 should exist, till AN comma AN. All the elements should have the same. Please make a note of that point. I forgot to mention. I made a small change in the question. Now tell me whether it is reflexive. Look at the input set 1, 2, 3. What is the change I made? 3, 3 is not there. So it cannot be. It is not reflexive. Reflexive. Input and output are the same. It is reflexive. Now it is reflexive. Am I clear with that? Right. So show that the relation is reflexive but not symmetric. Why is it not symmetric? Because 1, 2 is existing. What is missing? 2, 1 is not there. 2, 3 is existing. What is missing? 3, 2 for it to be symmetric. For example, if the question was like this: 1, 2, 2, 3, 2, 1. Along with 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Along with 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. If 1, 2, 2, 3, the additional element 2, 1 was existing. Can I call it a symmetric? Why? Because 2, 3 doesn't have any counterpart. Okay, so for it to be symmetric, every element should have a counterpart. Next, transitive. 1, 2 is there, 2, 3 is there, but 1, comma 3 is missing. So it is like first and second, second and third. For it to be transitive, first and third should be A1, comma A3. Okay. So what is missing? So look at the way they have written the answer. This is how you are supposed to write if it is a 1 mark question. R is reflexive. 1, comma 1, 2, comma 2, 3, comma 3 all lie in R. Hence it is reflexive. Symmetric. So it can be. It is still reflexive. It is not necessary that they should only be present. Breathe. So if suppose there are n elements in the input set, then for it to be reflexive, how many ordered pairs with the same input and output should you find? If there are n,
N.
If there are n elements in the input set, for it to be reflexive, how many ordered pairs with the same input and same output should be found?
There should be n numbers, sir.
N only. Whatever is the number of elements in the input set, the same number of ordered pairs with the same input and same output should be present. Even if one number is missing, even if one ordered pair is missing, it is not reflexive. Extra can be there, but missing part should not be there. That extra part is there only to prove whether it is symmetric or it can satisfy the other conditions. But even if one is less, it is not going to satisfy the condition of reflexivity. Sharia. So let's see why it is not symmetric. Okay, R is not symmetric as 1, comma 2 belongs to R, but 2, comma 1 does not belong to R. Similarly, R is not transitive because 1, comma 2 belongs to R, 2, comma 3 also belongs to R, but 1, comma 3 is missing. So that's it. Okay, shall we do the next one? So from here, you'll have some statement-based problems. So you need to think. They are asking us to prove it is an equivalence relation. Show that the relation R in set Z. Z in a set of integers. Okay. So show that the relation R in set Z of integers given by the relation R is equal to ordered plus A, comma B. What are the conditions they are supposed to satisfy? 2 divides A minus B. So if you do the subtraction, okay, there are two words again, they'll confuse you. One is subtraction and difference. What is the difference between these two? Difference is only a number. Subtraction is you have to give the exact sign. 1 minus 2 is minus 1. Difference of 1 and 2 is only 1. Okay. So R is 2 divides A minus B. That's why they told integer. Had the question been natural numbers, things would have been different. I explain what. Listen to this carefully, okay? So R is equal to, can you give me some sample integers that you can insert in A and B such that this condition is satisfied? So before that, let's first try to write a remainder should be. Let's again go back in the same method in which we are doing. Set Z, Z. Elements, I'm starting with minus 5, minus 5, minus 4, so on, 0, 1, 2, till 5. I've taken a limited set, but it has from minus infinity to plus infinity. Minus 5, minus 4, so on, 0, 1, 2, 3. Keeps going. I hope this part is clear. So what is going to be the Cartesian product set cross Z? Obviously, I can think of minus 5, comma, minus 5, minus 5, comma, minus 4. It keeps on going like this. I can think of, I'll randomly write, okay? I'm not thinking about it. 1, comma 4, 1, comma 5. I hope this part is clear. So from this Cartesian product, you need to pick up certain ordered pairs such that they satisfy the condition. When you subtract the first element, when you subtract the second element from the first element and divide it with 2, the remainder should be 0. Okay. So they're asking us to prove that this is an equivalence relation. So equivalence, now first what is the order in which we are supposed to go? For it to be reflexive, will it satisfy the condition of reflexive? Think logically. And they're asking us to prove minus 5 minus of minus 5 is 0. minus 5 to subtraction is 0. 0 is obviously divisible by 2. So I can write minus 5 comma minus 5, minus 4 comma minus 5. I can write out of the limited number I'm saying. Similarly, what I'm trying to say is you can write any integer x and the same integer x as the input and the output, such that the difference between them is always 0, which is divisible by 2. Minus 4 comma minus 4, minus 3 comma minus 3, so on, 4 comma 4, 5 comma 5. Do you have all the elements that are present which have the same input and the same output? Yes, it is reflexive. So how you write it in the mathematical statement form is the subtraction of the number from itself is going to be a 0, which is divisible by 2. That's the statement. If you read it, that's what they would have given it. Okay. Next is symmetric. So symmetric now, how many can I conclude and how many can I decide and how many will be concluded by the question? I will choose one. I can choose one. For example, tell me. So for symmetric, one thing I told you, input and output should not be the same number, because if they are same, it satisfies only condition of reflexive. You tell me one number. Minus 5 comma minus 3. Right? Minus 5 comma minus 3. If minus 5 comma minus 3, if I am concluding yes, it is divisible by 2. I am choosing an ordered pair. Yes, it is divisible by 2. Will there be the other ordered pair also? Will minus 3 comma minus 5 also belong to this set? Yes, because minus 5 comma minus 5 comma minus 3 will give me the divisibility, the quotient as, forget about quotient, the remainder is 0. Okay, similarly minus 3 comma minus 5 also going to give me the remainder as 0. So a1 comma a2 belongs to R, stated by us, concludes a2 comma a1 also belongs to R, according to the statement given in the question. Hence, it is symmetric. Does that make sense? Right? Now comes another question. Is it going to be transitive? Is it transitive? So minus 5 comma minus 3, a1 comma a2 should belong to R. Then a2 comma a3 means with whatever number I have concluded in the first order pair, I should start the second order pair with the same number, minus 3 comma, I will write minus 1. If minus 5 comma minus 3 is divisible by 2 and minus 3 comma minus 1 is also divisible by 2, is minus 5 comma minus 1 also divisible by 2? Yes, it is. Hence it is. See, this is one of the examples. You can write any such ordered pair, you will still get the answer. Okay, am I clear? Since all the three conditions are satisfied, it is an equivalence relation. Let's see how they have stated. Can I move to the? Can I navigate to the other page? Let's see what they have given in the textbook. R is reflexive as 2 divides A minus A. They have taken random elements, A comma A, such that when you do A and B are same. A minus A is how much? 0, which is divisible by 2 for all values of A that belongs to R. Further, if A comma B belongs to R, then 2 divides A minus B. Then if B comma A also belongs to R, B minus A is also divisible by 2. Therefore, 2 divides B minus A also. Why? You know the answer because you have taken an example. Next. So if A comma B belongs to R, statement by us, and B comma A also belongs to R, it's a conclusion by the question. Next, what is the third one? If A comma B belongs to R, B comma C also belongs to R, then we can conclude A comma C also belongs to R. If you have any kind of a doubt in these kind of questions, I suggest you to take numbers and check. Okay. One small change, what we can do is, or you can give examples. You can give examples. Okay. Before next class, I'm stopping with this. Okay. Before next class, instead of stating set of integers, had they told set of natural numbers, do you think this is still going to exist? Change the question as set of natural numbers and try to find out whether this relation is still an equivalence relation. Okay, that's what we are going to start with in the next class. Right? Any other doubt on today's class? Clear? Okay. You will get all these recordings by tomorrow morning. If you have any doubt, you can go through them. And in the next class, you can get them clear. Okay. So 1 minute. I just wanted to make a note of this number. 6369210,899. Students who were there last year will have this number, but I want everybody to take a note. We know the money. 6369210,899. This is student support number. Okay. Means if you get any doubt, you can message me in this number. I will be available on this number. You will get the response within 24 hours, depending on my availability. If you have any doubt, let's say you are solving any question, you wouldn't understand, you can always reach out to me either in the form of a message or a voice note. Please don't call me without asking because I might be in class. I will not be able to attend. Okay, you can do these two things. I'll send it back. Yes, that's it.
I have a doubt. It's a doubt.
Yeah, Rohan, tell me.
So can we say a universal relation is always an equivalence relation?
Can you say universal?
Relation is an equivalence relation always.
That again depends. No? In that universal relation, you need not. That depends on the way you define the relation. Can you give me an example?
No, sir. I thought like since the universal
Yeah, you
relation
can
will
say,
have
yeah,
every
you can.
element, then an equivalence relation also will be satisfied.
Exactly. See, 1, 2, if I take this as an example, then the Cartesian products I can think of is 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2. Correct? So 1, 1
Yes.
is there, 2, 2 is there, it satisfies the condition of reflexive. 1, 2 is there, 2, 1 is there, it satisfies the condition of transitive. 1, 2 is there, 2, 1 is there, 1, 1 is there, it satisfies the, sorry. 1, 2 is there, 2, 1 is there, it satisfies the condition of symmetric. 1, 2 is there, 2, 1 is there, 1, 1 is there, it satisfies the condition of transitive. Hence, yes, it is an equivalence.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Ankit and Ananya, clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. If you're clear, you can log off, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.